we're going to talk about Mike Brown. I don't know what this means for the Sacramento Kings or Mike Brown. There was another coach and another contract extension today. Another coach, another contract extension, and another dollar figure north of $10 million per. And it's my guy from the start of this show, Ty Lue. Ty Lue at 5 years, $72 million. Again, Ty Lue has a championship. You know, we could talk about the Clippers all we want to, but Ty Lue does have an NBA title, just like Mike Budenholzer does. His number, though, is north of the 10 million. Fair to say at 72 is well north of the 10 million number. It's not like 10.
I was trying to figure that out. It's like what no, so yeah, 10.2. So it's still
no, it's like 12. It's probably what, 12? Because it's was it 5 years?
You're talking about Ty Lue?
Yeah, was it 5?
I think I did the math this morning. It's 14 mil per year.
14 per.
Mil per year. Price is going up.
So that's more than Monty. We still don't know what J Kidd got. And remember, J Kidd's contract extension. Go ahead, Jesse.
But you can finish your point. I was going to say after. Do we know where the floor is though for Mike Brown? Where that number?
Well, to me, it can't be lower than 9 million. Like it can't be lower than that.
See, I feel like it can't be lower than 10.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
10. I would say 10.
That's how I feel. But there, if I'm the Kings and I hate playing this role, there is a distinction between the $10 million guys with one exception. They've all won a championship. Hell, even in Monty's case, he's been to an NBA Finals.
Right.
Mike hasn't. Mike
been to one. He's been to one.
It's not shortchange 06.
That's right. You're right. I'm sorry. You're right. Yep.
So he's got that on his resume, but he
doesn't have an NBA Finals victory.
He doesn't. No, he doesn't.
Baby steps.
But
I wouldn't take. But if I'm the Kings, I'm not taking that stance. Like 10 million to me is a perfectly.
I think so too.
That's a perfectly fair number.
I think so too, and also you compare it to, Rick Carlisle's and things like that. Well, Rick Carlisle got his deal years ago. The market has changed. And 10 million for a guy like Mike Brown seems fair to this new coaching market. You can't even treat him in the same market that you did when he was hired.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? That the market has shifted, and we're not just talking now. At one point, the outlier was Monty Williams, right? And you could kind of write that off a little bit, but we're not. We're talking about more than just Monty Williams now. It's shifted with Coach Bud, with Ty Lue, with Jason Kidd, and
I mean, truth be told, we're probably not talking about Monty Williams at all.
Yeah.
Like I mean, if you're Mike's people and you want to use it as a reference point, like it's cool. That's a tough hill to die on. But I guess the one thing you could hang your hat on is Monty has been to an NBA Finals just like Mike has and lost just like Mike has. What Monty doesn't have is multiple NBA championships with Steve Kerr as an assistant, with Greg Popovich as an assistant.
Yeah.
Or a win percentage of 6.015 like Mike Budenholzer does, who just got $10 million.
And what I would say, and once again, I'm with you. I don't think Mike's representation is necessarily trying to zero in on the Monty Williams number, but if they are, I would, as an organization with the Kings, I would say, come on, man, that's not being fair. That's a little disingenuous to be like, yo, we want to be paid more than Monty. We're alive here. And we know that's a ridiculous contract. Like, don't pin us to that number.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like I said, I don't think Mike's team is doing that. That's just my gut feeling.
Ty Lue got 14 per to win an NBA championship with the Los Angeles Clippers. Mike Budenholzer got 10 slightly plus million per year to win an NBA championship for the Phoenix Suns. You either want to be a title contender or you don't. To me, it's as simple as that. You want to follow the model of all of these other teams. You've been following the model for Golden State for how long now? If you're Vivek Ranadive. All right. You want to win an NBA championship. Great. You've got a coach that can win you an NBA championship. The concern for me now is I believe that. Do you? That's my concern. Because if the number really is 10, and this is a lot of ifs because we don't know.
Mhm.
If the number is really 10 and you're balking at it and we're using terms like golf to people like Adrian Wojnarowski, yeah, that's concerning to me. That's concerning to me. But it could be the Kings are thinking 10 and Mike's team is thinking Ty Lue money, 14. Monty Williams money, 13 and a half.
Yeah. And I want to reiterate, because we talked about this a lot yesterday. I think we're both in agreement here. We think it's going to get done. We're talking a lot and we're discussing it because it's newsworthy and everything. I'm not worried. I can honestly say I'm not worried at all that this won't get done. Like I'm not worried. Like I look at to be honest with you, and we could talk about it now. I look at the options for both sides. And they both just point back towards each other. Like I don't think either side really has a lot of options moving forward that are better than what they have. You know what I mean? And I know, and one of the things I meant to ask yesterday, I said I wanted to ask when Jason was here. I asked the wrong question. Not the wrong question, but there was another one I wanted to answer. We ran out of time. I'll ask both of you guys. Before Mike Brown was hired, or when he was hired, I believe we were kind of all in agreement that, yo, Mike Brown, you better make this work because this is probably your last shot. You didn't have multiple stops before. You've been, fired or whatever from multiple stops. You took time off to learn as the Warriors. This may be your last chance at a head coaching job. Do we still feel that way today after 2 years with the Kings?
I don't think so. I think he'll get a job. I think he'll get another job. I don't think he'll have to work. Like
I don't want to speak for you guys. Did we feel that way coming into this Kings job about Mike Brown?
I think at the time we might have.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think
just the job coming into it, Mike Brown's like just his history or whatever.
So here's in I think I side with Jesse on this in that if Mike isn't brought back next year or they make him coach out this year, excuse me, and things kind of go south, and you can take that to mean whatever you want to, but like things go south for the Kings and Mike, it's going to fall on the organization. I don't think Mike's going to wear this.
So that's
because it'll look like another Sacramento Kings blunder. And I don't think Mike will wear it.
I don't think I understand that. And I
think what happened last time is he had the Lakers situation, which was stepping into a win a championship now with at the time, well, still one of the best players on the planet. Win like right now with a veteran team. It didn't work for whatever reason. He didn't have the respect of that locker room. I think that hurts him. And then that blunder was magnified by accepting Dan Gilbert's invitation to go back to Cleveland.
If they I
don't think the Lakers thing was his fault, by the way, at all.
Right. It was a bad fit. It was just a bad fit. Like I don't know if it has to be. Yeah, it doesn't have to necessarily be a bad hire or his fault or anything. It just they thought something needed. They thought something would work with him. It didn't work. Those things happen.
They needed something
else. So I'm trying to figure out how I want to phrase this. Because I agree with both of you guys. I think he has changed his. He's opened up a new coaching window for him here with this time in Sacramento. You're talking about if it goes south, that means missing the playoffs again. And they just decide to walk away from each other. I agree that there will be a large number of people who look at it as Sacramento messed up again. But think about it from another organization that wants to hire him. This guy won Coach of the Year and made the playoffs and then missed it 2 straight years. And we're going to bring him in as an answer to our problems.
All right, so it kind of ties into the point I want to make and stuff like that. You brought up, like, we're not worried yet. I'll be pretty worried if we're going into game 1 and he doesn't have an extension, because that kind of ties in Monty McNair. Now Monty McNair has to make moves where Mike has to work or whatever, win ball games and all that. Like now Monty McNair is tied into this. Was like, if I'm Mike Brown, you got to get me these players right now. I don't have an extension. They're waiting on me to wait. Whatever it is the holdup. Like, I need the guys in order to make it happen. Last year,
if we're at game 1, we better have the guys. If we're still talking about Monty doing something at game 1, this isn't a Mike Brown problem. This is a Monty McNair problem.
I'm just saying, if he doesn't have his contract going into game 1, then Monty, like you said, he better have made it set up Mike to where he could succeed.
Yeah. And let Mike succeed. Because now all of a sudden now all of a sudden, give me Ty Lue's money. I don't want Mike Budenholzer. If Monty does what he's supposed to do this offseason, and they put Mike in a position where, hey, it's cool. I'm gonna coach my guys. I'm here. I'm under contract. That's what I'm gonna do. And we get to the midway point, and the Kings are the 2 seed, and it's not people bitching about the Western Conference and how it's weak. It's the Kings as a strong 2 seed or 1 seed. Yeah, that contract has changed. Don't give me Mike Budenholzer money no more.
Because you better what if he misses the playoffs? The only way I see the Kings missing the playoffs again is if Monty doesn't make moves. Because I think Mike Brown is the coach for the Kings,
and that's not on Mike.
Yeah,
if this roster doesn't change, that's not on Mike.
I agree, and I don't think that if the team makes the playoffs and everybody is happy like they were last year, I don't think it's an issue about his contract or what he'll be paid. And that's going specifically to what James wrote about, Mark Stein wrote about. It seems like the issue was not making the playoffs. So if they're a 2 seed next year and we're having negotiations, or they make the playoffs again next year, and there's another more revenue for the ownership and Vivek and everything because of a playoff run, and maybe they win a series, even if they don't win a series, I don't think none of that is an issue. Unless there will be no more issues to have. Like, he's gotten you to the playoffs 2 of the last 3 years. He's up for a contract. You pay him a reasonable amount for what he's asking. I don't think that's an issue. But here's the thing that I also said, though, is I think both sides, and I feel like people, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like people aren't looking at it from both sides. I don't think there's good options on both sides. I don't think the Kings have good options to replace Mike Brown with. I don't feel like Mike Brown has better places to go. And I'll lay some things out. There's some things I was thinking about. I agree with Jason, what he said yesterday, where, he'll be coaching next year because there ain't no jobs.
Right. Yeah, the hiring cycle. I mean, Cleveland's open.
Yeah,
he's not going there. The other job that's open is the Lakers.
Oh, yeah, which
he's not going there.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that's open too much anymore either.
Well,
are we all agree Mike Brown coaches the Kings no matter what this season, right?
I think he coaches. I think he coaches. Yesterday, when we were talking about, I was like, there may be a way where he's not the coach if he doesn't have a contract. I think he coaches.
I don't think I think worst case scenario is the one that you laid out a second ago, Jesse, is Mike is coaching without a contract extension at the beginning of the year. That's the worst case scenario.
And securing a monk. I got the teams right here. Securing a monk on a Matthews Mattress Chatty House says the Bulls will be open next year. The Bulls will not be open next season. It will be open after next year. All jobs that we're talking about here are going to be after next season. And you're looking at, I got Toronto, I got Chicago.
Okay.
These are potentials. I got Chicago, Toronto, Washington, and the 3 out west are I got triple question marks by them.
Who's in Toronto?
The guy
Darko? We're getting rid of him?
It'll be his third, would it be his third or second season? Second season.
Yeah, I don't
maybe not. I'm going kind of, to the extreme.
Okay.
It could be open, but you're right.
I don't think so.
That would be after his second year. That would seem a little hasty, right?
A little bit.
Yeah.
It's very Kings-ish of the Raptors if they did that.
I agree and I understand. But I just got them on the list just for argument's sake.
All right.
Chicago, Toronto, Washington. The Pelicans. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
The Grizzlies.
I've been trying to get Willie Green not to pay for him, so it's fine. The Grizzlies.
Maybe.
The Grizzlies are interesting. Okay, go ahead.
And the Jazz. Maybe.
No,
I don't.
No,
I don't think so. But it would
that's an aggressive firing.
It would be the third season of, and I'm assuming the Jazz have a bad season.
Is that where we are
with the Jazz? I don't think so.
No. Is that where we are with coaches? Like, you got 2 years to figure this out.
Well, it'd be his third year. Like he didn't figure
is that
it out.
Enough?
I don't necessarily think so, but I'm just
like, if you're it's Darko, right? If you're Darko, like, you gutted my whole team.
Well, that's the thing too. Like with Utah, I feel like Will Hardy's like, all right, Danny, go make that move, and then let's see what we're working with. But like, you can't fire Will Hardy.
And like, what's Danny doing sitting around? No, well, okay. I feel like I'm pushing back against everything you just said.
That's
because these jobs might not be available. Like Danny, like Will is Danny's guy.
Yeah,
those are Jesse ties right there. Those are Celtics ties.
I went when I made this list. I went complete worst case scenario.
Will Hardy would be the coach of the Boston Celtics right now if he didn't leave.
I went complete worst case scenario. And that's
what about Jacob Z? What about Portland?
Oh, Portland is on there. Portland is on there. So you can swap out that. I got 6 teams right here, potentially 7. You could probably take off 3 of them.
You take off.
I went
take Billy Dunn on.
I went worst case scenario.
I hear you.
I went worst case scenario, and there's 7.
I hear you.
There's 7 jobs. 4 of them are garbage jobs.
But think about that for a second. Let's give me New Orleans, Memphis.
Those are probably the 2 good jobs. Chicago's up in the air.
Chicago, I feel like, really fits Billy Donovan. I don't know, but are you going to Mike Brown for either of those 2 jobs?
That's the other question. That is assuming that Mike Brown would leave the Kings and be the #1 coaching candidate to everybody in the NBA.
Let me ask you that. Let me try this. If and I know we have to use our imaginations a bit, and this is a bit unfair, so forgive me. If Mike Budenholzer didn't have the 1, is he the head coach of the Phoenix Suns right now?
Probably not. Probably not.
All right.
Maybe he's not coach of the Suns, but I think he eventually has another job. Like, I don't think Mike Budenholzer's out the league forever.
I don't think he's out the league either.
I think it's up in the air.
And with those other teams too, like whether they look at Mike Brown as one thing or whatever, but like if I'm Mike Brown, those teams gonna pay me $10 million.
But this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Like when I talk about the options aren't plentiful for both sides, I don't think Mike, and I wouldn't play. I'm not saying this to say the Kings should play hardball. Like, where you gonna go? Like, be fair with him, treat him right, give him the contract that he deserves in this situation. But he don't have a lot of good options either, in my opinion. Number one, we've wiped out next year. You leave the Kings now, you're not coaching next year. So now you're off for a year. Now, those teams that I talked about, those are your options. Maybe Mike Brown is okay with being out for 1-2 years until the right job comes around. Maybe. I don't know.
Well, he won't be out 5.
No.
Or 6 or whatever it was last time. He ain't going to do that again.
Right. And maybe he knows that. He's like, I'm willing to take some time off or whatever to wait for the right job. Maybe. But like you just said, the right job may not be they may not be looking for you.
There's that, but there's also, because you mentioned like worst case scenarios, if we go into game 1 and Mike Brown doesn't have an extension, I think that's where we're headed, to be honest. I don't see, like, talks are tabled and all that, so obviously they'll come back to it, but I don't see a month from now, all right, Mike, yeah, we'll give you the 12 million, whatever the number is, we'll give you that you wanted. Like, so you're gonna need results. And I think, like, what if Mike is taking this Kings team winning ball games and all that, and like Dame said, price is too high now. Maybe the Kings don't want to pay whatever it is. Maybe it's
at that point you pay you pay if you're winning.
Yeah,
there's no
if you get to the playoffs,
you'll lose your entire fan base if you don't pay for a winning coach.
If you get to the playoffs again next year, everything's good. Everybody loves everybody.
Not to the level of Doc Rivers, but Mike, dating back to Cleveland, and it's the gift and the curse of LeBron James. Mike has always had detractors. His detractors, when he was with Cleveland and during his brief stint with Los Angeles, were national. They were everywhere because when you're coaching LeBron James and Kobe Bryant, you're under that national media microscope. He has always had detractors. Here, when you're the Sacramento Kings coach, it's a little bit different. It's Sacramento, right? You made some noise, you got some goodwill, you got things really, really going. And again, it goes back to what my peak frustration was when we got the first opportunity to talk about this story yesterday. There is no reason for this story to be out there right now because Jesse just brought up, okay, they're tabling talks. You know, tabling talks could mean like, okay, we'll meet after Memorial Day.
Right.
That's what. All right, we're not gonna hammer this out. We'll meet.
Go enjoy your weekend.
Yeah, we'll meet Monday.
Yeah.
Now,
Wes, I know you got a basketball tournament to go to. Go enjoy that. And
Tell Kenny we said hi.
Where's the thing? Someone in the chat, I think, said it yesterday. Maybe Wes like, hey guys, got to go hang out with my pal Kenny this weekend. Can we try it again on Wednesday?
That's the shoot. But that tabling talks, it's just, hey, let's hold off on that conversation. We'll get back to it. It could mean next week. It could mean, hey, hey, Mike, I know you're going on vacation. Monty's going on vacation. Let's reconvene a week before the California Classic. It could mean anything, but
it doesn't have to mean people are angry and like there's no coming back.
Well, yes, which brings us back to the original question. Why the hell is this out there?
I agree.
I think we could use. Look, we didn't know these conversations were happening. Now, we could use judgment and think, yeah, I mean, Monty said they were going to happen, so they're going to happen. No one knew that these contract negotiations were happening right now. So there is absolutely no reason for us to know that they're not happening right now, unless someone is a little frustrated. You look like you're about to fire off a hot take.
It's all just thinking and speculation at this point. Like from what I'm getting, like reading stuff like that and all that from the tweets and whatever, like I said, it's all speculation. I feel like Mike wants like probably around 10, 12 what the going rate is for coaches now, but they're trying to pay him single digits right now.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah, and they got to get off that. They can't.
The going rate for coaches now, like it's a double digit game now. You got to pay him 10 million at least.
That's kind of ridiculous, you know. And look, it could be one of those things.
It's actually 8 digits, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, 10. Well, 10 yeah, come on.
I got it.
I don't play with these numbers like you guys do. Okay, I don't play with these numbers like you guys do.
Actually, borrowing. And at the same time, maybe that could be deemed as disrespectful too. But it's a negotiation, right? Like, let's say it's 8. Let's just throw out a number and say it's 8. All right, let's see if he takes 8. It's offer him like you guys once again.
See, but
that's and there's you play a potential game of being disrespectful when you do that and pissing off the other side. That's the downside to it. But if they have meetings internally and are like, hey, we're willing to go as high as 11. Start at 8. See what he says. He may be happy with 8. I don't know.
I feel like it's farther apart because it's like Dame said, it's like we are already negotiations are tabled or whatever. It's not like if it's 2 million apart, like you can meet in the middle, whatever. You keep negotiating, but the fact that it's tabled and it's like, oh, it's a golf now and all that. Like I feel like they're real far apart, and also too, like but free agency is in a month.
And real quick, the whole golf thing and them walking away probably tells me they're both on the extreme ends. Because like you said, if Mike and them wanted 10, if we think Mike is doing like 6 or 6.5, right?
Now.
Yeah, now. I don't think they're gonna be like, yo, you're making 6. We want to move you to 7 or 6.5, we want to move you to 7.
Mhm.
It's probably something they deem as a true increase, like 6 to 8.
Like they gave Mike a cost of living increase.
Right.
No.
6 to 8. And like you said, if Mike Representatives was at 10, that means that's that 2 mil that we're talking about. You're
Mhm.
like, we're not doing this over 2 mil.
Mhm.
If it sounds like, it feels like they're saying 8,
Mhm.
and Mike and them are like, we want Monty's 13.
Mhm.
That's a gulf.
Mhm.
8 to 10 isn't a gulf.
Mhm.
8 to 13, 8 to 12, that's more of a gulf.